Power restored in Plateau, Bauchi, Gombe, and Benue states as other northern states remain hopeful. Taraba tricycle operators blocked Jalingo Highway in protest over alleged police extortion. President Tinubu appoints Major General Olufemi Olatunbosun Oluyede as acting Chief of Army Staff. On the foreign scene, cult attack in Ugandan village leaves 8 dead, including children. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Hour. I am Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Electricity has been restored in 4 states under the Jos Electricity Distribution franchise. They are Plateau, Bauchi, Gombe, and Benue states. The power was restored at approximately 7:20 p.m. on Wednesday. Reports say residents of Jos erupted into jubilation, with many expressing joy and relief. For the past 10 days, the 4 states under the Jos Electricity Distribution franchise, Plateau, Bauchi, Gombe, and Benue states, have been plunged into darkness following the tripping of the 330 kVA transmission line between Benue and Enugu states. Joining us via telephone is Trust TV's Ado Musa with an update. All right, we will reach out to Ado Musa much later in the bulletin. We are having some issues with the connections. Moving on, residents of Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, have decried the epileptic power supply in the country, describing the situation as a disaster in the 21st century. To this end, they called on the federal government to take back ownership of the sector to custody instead of leaving it in the hands of the private organizations or individuals. The report.
Power supply is essential in the everyday lives of humans, especially as most businesses cannot operate without electricity. Some business operators say they could use generators as alternative power sources during power outages before now, but said they can no longer do so due to the increase in fuel price.
It's really affecting us because when you check what we sell is what we need light for, and because without the light we can't sell, and that's when the freezers and the TV comes on board, because without the light there is no way who come and buy TV. What will you use the light for?
I sell sachet water. We're not happy with this situation. Prices of everything are increasing and people are suffering. One might be thirsty and want to drink cold water, but they will need at least 15 naira to get a sachet. If you are using generator, to chew 50 bags of sachet water, you must spend at least 15,000 naira on fuel. So what are you gaining? If there is power, you can buy 2 sachets at the rate of 15 naira. But without power, 15 naira can only purchase 1 sachet. Right now, patronage has dropped. Following the negative impact of the blackout, some residents are divided on whether the privatization of power sector should be revoked.
The failure is from the government. There is no way national grid can collapse severally without taking action on it.
Past government, sincerely speaking, we suffer about power. But this time, since the power turned to the commercial hand, well, we are having it, but not what we are expected.
We are suffering it, and we have been crying to government. The thing have affected us so much. We cannot afford for our children daily feeding.
While decrying the limited supply of electricity despite surging monthly bills, they urged distribution companies to do more to save the lives of citizens.
Because even those that are using prepared meter, they are complaining. Those that are using flat rates, they are complaining. And to even see the NEPA, for you to enjoy what you are consuming, we are not seeing the NEPA at all. See the situation of this, everywhere is hot.
Because our politicians and our leaders, they are not intervening on that issue. Since this thing happened in our state, things have been increasing, inflation have been raising anyhow.
They are also appealing to the government to improve its regulatory role in the sector to ensure that those saddled with the responsibility of providing power to Nigerians are seen to be doing so.
Tricycle operators, popularly known as Keke Napep riders in Jalingo, on Tuesday blocked the major highway in the Taraba state capital over alleged extortion by the Nigeria police. The blockade, which lasted over 2 hours, is reported to have disrupted free flow of traffic within Jalingo city. The report.
The chairman Keke Napep riders in Jalingo, Nasiru Garba, who spoke shortly after the protest, lamented that some traffic police officers have been harassing members of the group under the guise of wrong parking and other excuses. All get was extorting money from them. Garba noted that those who fail to give them money will be arrested, charged, and taken to the station.
We were in the office when we heard that the 4 traffic police officers were involved in a fight with our members at a roadblock. We went there to settle the case, but the place was too rowdy and crowded. Everybody around that place knows those traffic officers because we report them severally to the DC, and he has promised to take all the necessary action to stop this from happening.
Another branch chairman of the Keke riders, Saad Isiaka, found out the attitude of some security personnel who use their uniforms as a tool to violate the rights of the citizens.
What happened at the roadblock today is just unfortunate. The attitude of security personnel who always come to extort us via unnecessary taxes is not fair. They caught my boy yesterday around NNPC filling station and collected 1,500 naira from him for no reason. Yes, our Keke riders did not do well, but the security personnel are the cause of everything. They don't wear uniform, but will instead disguise and enter the Keke, arrest the rider without taking us to the station. They will only ask us to settle them there through bribes. When we refuse, then they will call their people from the station to come and arrest us without any reason.
Some eyewitnesses described the altercation as unnecessary and called for an amicable solution to the fracas.
What happened today at the roadblock is that one of our riders parked behind a car that parked in no parking area, and the traffic did not accost the car but entered the Keke and asked the rider to bring something because he parked at a no parking area. But the rider tried to explain to the traffic police that the place is a parking place since there was no sign displaying no parking. The disagreement led to an altercation that saw other riders blocking the road. It took the intervention of the military to settle the scuffle. To be frank, these people are not fair to us. The security personnel will come and enter your vehicle in mufti, waiting for you to drop your passenger. If you mistakenly stop at no parking area, he will arrest you and ask you to do something and go. If not, they will take us to their station and arrest us there. I don't know much about what happened, but I heard that one Keke driver wanted to park beside the highway. In fact, he did not even stop, and the traffic police entered the Keke and asked the rider to bring something. When he refused, the fight ensued, and other riders in the area joined their colleagues to beat up the officer before military officers arrived and calmed the situation.
The Union of the Keke riders, as well as operators, called on the security agencies to reduce the taxes they impose on them to enable them make profit from their trade. Attempt to speak with the police public relations officer of the Taraba State Command proved abortive.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has appointed Major General Olufemi Olatunbosun Oluyede as the new Chief of Army Staff in acting capacity. This was disclosed in a statement on Wednesday by the presidential spokesman, Bayo Onanuga. Mr. Onanuga explained that General Oluyede will hold sway as the Chief of Army Staff pending the return of Lieutenant General Taurid Abiodun Lagbaja, who is said to be indisposed and is receiving treatment abroad. Until his appointment, Major General Olufemi Olatunbosun Oluyede served as the 56th commander of the elite infantry corps of the Nigerian Army based in Jaji, Kaduna State. The 56-year-old Oluyede and Lagbaja were coursemates and members of the 39th Regular Corps of the Nigerian Defense Academy. Major General Oluyede was commissioned a second lieutenant in 1992, effective from 1987, and promoted to Major General in September 2020. The military High Command on Wednesday dismissed a report alleging that one of its training camps in Kontagora local government area of Niger State was overrun by the terrorists. It specifically described the claims of the Niger State House of Assembly that the largest military camp has been taken over by the terrorists as untrue and incorrect. Daily Trust had reported how the Niger State House of Assembly raised an alarm over the occupation of Nigeria's largest military training camp in the area by bandits. The lawmakers claimed that the bandits' activities in the area had displaced 23 communities around the Nagwamatse military cantonment in Kontagora local government headquarters. But reacting to the claim, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Edward Buba, said troops have constantly eliminated the threat posed by terrorists crossing the vast area. Although Buba did not deny the presence of terrorists in the area, he maintained that the troops deployed to contain activities of the criminals have denied them freedom of action. The Public Relations Officer of Lagos State Police Command, Benjamin Hundeyin, has revealed that the Juvenile Welfare Center located beside the Alakara Police Station in Mushin, Lagos State, has been a beacon of hope for vulnerable children for more than 5 decades. Established more than 50 years ago by the Nigeria Police Force, the center has provided emergency shelter and care to countless children in need, including the abandoned, destitute, and those who have had cause with the Nigerian law. According to the PRO, the center has played a critical role in offering protection and a safe space for children during their most difficult moments. According to Hundeyin, the Juvenile Welfare Center remains an essential part of Lagos State's efforts to address child welfare and protection, ensuring that the most vulnerable are not left without support.
Well, the center has been functioning. The major challenge is that the capacity, the facility is being overstretched. It's being stretched beyond its capacity. So it gets to, there are times when they just cannot take more children because it's filled to capacity. And in such cases, we'll liaise with the Ministry of Youth and Social Development to take in some of these children into other shelters, government shelters, or into orphanages. So that's the only, perhaps the only challenge we have.
Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf has announced a new minimum wage of 71,000 naira for civil servants effective November 2024. The governor made this announcement Tuesday while receiving the Kano State Public Service Negotiation Committee report at Government House. Governor Yusuf emphasized the necessity of enhancing service delivery and fostering collaboration among civil servants in Kano State.
The new minimum wage will be effective from November 1st. 2024 by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And let me say that its implementation will increase our monthly salary obligations by over 6 billion naira.
The member of the House of Representatives representing Gumi Bukuyum Federal Constituency of Zamfara State in the House of Representatives, Suleiman Abubakar Gumi, has announced his defection from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the All Progressives Congress (APC). Representative Gumi cited ongoing internal and external crises within the PDP as his reasons for switching parties. His defection letter was read during Wednesday's plenary session by the Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin. In his letter, Representative Gumi pointed to the recent removal of his party's local government chairman, which led to the emergence of 2 rival chairmen, creating a challenging environment for democratic processes. Responding to Representative Gumi's defection, Minority Leader in the House of Representatives, Kingsley Chinda, urged the Speaker to uphold his oath of office by declaring Representative Gumi's seat vacant. Representative Chinda argued that the Supreme Court has clarified the criteria for what constitutes a legitimate political crisis and contended that Gumi's reasons did not meet these standards. Representative Chinde emphasized that according to the Constitution, lawmakers should not retain their seats if they leave the party they had originally, or the party that sponsored them to elective office.
Your Excellency, my decampment from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress was as a result of the lingering and unresolved internal and external crisis within the People's Democratic Party. It is in view of the foregoing that I'm officially informing you of my decampment from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressive Congress. Please accept the assurances of my highest esteem and regards.
As the interpreter of the rules of the House and the Constitution, as far as we are concerned in these green chambers. Mr. Speaker, you are aware that for a member to leave his political party to another political party, the constitutional provisions are very, very clear. And the reasons given from what you have read is that he has two chairmen in his constituency. Mr. Speaker, the courts of this land, including the Supreme Court, has interpreted clearly what a division in a party is. And I will call you, sir, to act according to your oath of office, which you swore as Mr. Speaker, to uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to carry out that assignment as the whole world is watching and listening to what position and decision you will take, sir. I would therefore urge you, Mr. Speaker, to act in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and declare the seat vacant.
Still at the House of Representatives, the Green Chamber Wednesday passed for third reading a bill for an act to prevent, prohibit, and redress sexual harassment of students in tertiary institutions. The bill, which is a legacy bill, was read on the floor at plenary by the House Majority Leader, Julius Uhombere, who incidentally first brought the bill before the House in the 9th Assembly, with the former Deputy Senate President Ovie Omoyagege representing same bill at the Senate before Akin Rotimi reintroduced it in the 10th Assembly with some modifications. According to Representative Rotimi, the bill's objective, amongst others, are to enact, promote, and protect ethical standards in tertiary education and protect the sanctity of students-educator relationship. The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, and the civil society groups all spoke on the importance of the bill, which they argue that if finally assented to by President Bola Tinubu, will protect students from predatory lecturers.
An educator shall be guilty of committing an offense or a felony of sexual harassment if he or she engages in any form of unwelcome physical contact or verbal conduct of a sexual nature with a student or prospective student, or demands such conduct regardless of consent. Number 2, creates a hostile, offensive, or intimidating environment for a student by making unsolicited or inappropriate sexual advances or by requesting sexual favors. Number 3, directs, facilitates, assists, or encourages another person to engage in any act of sexual harassment as defined under this bill.
So it's important that there is a comprehensive law that addresses the gaps that are inherent in extant laws. And that is what this bill, that's the gap that this bill has been designed to bridge.
I'll be happy to see that this bill against sexual harassment is passed because it will bring a major step forward in protecting our women and girls from sexual violence. This bill is not just a piece of legislature, but a beacon of hope for our girls and our women in Nigeria.
The entire leadership of the over 40 million Nigerian students are very happy. I want to specially thank the Honorable Rotimi for this legislative framework and to rescue Nigerian students from sexual harassment. You see, this builds confidence in learning process. As students in various higher institutions, we have confidence to learn very well without facing
The Senate has confirmed the nomination of 7 ministerial nominees as substantive ministers designate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The confirmation follows the screening of each of the nominees by lawmakers of the upper chamber at the resumption of plenary activities on Wednesday. Trust TV's National Assembly correspondent Sagir Ibrahim has details.
It's a busy day for lawmakers in the upper chamber of the National Assembly as they prepare for another round of screening for ministerial nominees. This follows the recent reshuffle of the Federal Executive Council by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which led to the disengagement of some 7 ministers, the appointment of new ones, and the reassignment of portfolios for others. Following the presentation of bills, Senate Leader Okpeyemi Bamidele moved a motion to step down the first 2 items under consideration to allow the Senate focus on the screening and confirmation of the ministerial nominees. The plenary then dissolved into the Committee of the Whole to commence the screening and approval of the nominated appointees. One by one, the nominees were invited into the Senate chamber to brief senior lawmakers on what they intend to do differently once they assume their designated ministries.
Most time when you look at the statistic, because there's no just partial distribution of the poor people, you can't even determine how people are actually captured in your own senatorial zone or in your own ward or in your own community. But by just doing this alone, we cannot distribute materials to the last mile in the country.
Missions abroad actually reflect the true magnitude of Nigeria's standing in the Committee of Nations. It is very, very important because this is what will give our nation the much needed respect to carry out diplomatic functions.
The silver lining in leveraging the current FX rate is an opportunity to deepen exports, because our goods are currently cheaper for exports and also cheaper for domestic consumption. So it's an opportunity for all of us to buy Nigerian, to support Nigerian businesses and consume what is made in Nigeria. That will create jobs and encourage these businesses and make sure they stay in business.
While the lawmakers took time to question those they were less familiar with, others with well-known records in public service were granted the privilege of taking a bow without further questioning. In the end, the Committee of the Whole reverted to plenary, where the screened nominees were confirmed as ministers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The nominees appeared before the Senate, answered questions from distinguished senators on a number of topical issues, particularly issues relating to their designated ministries. Thereafter, the Senate and the Committee of the Whole approved the nominations of Dr. Nentewa Yilwata, Muhammadu Maigari Dingyadi, Bianca Odinaga Odimogu Ojugu, Right Honorable Yusuf Abdullahi Asa, Idi Mukhtar Maiha, Dr. Jumoke Oduwale, Shuaiba Said Ahmad, PhD, as ministers of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole?
The confirmed ministers designate are expected to hit the ground running to implement President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Nigerians continue to await relief following the administration's recent policies, which some say have caused significant hardship. From the National Assembly, Sagir Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Yusuf Dabo Dantalle, has accused state governors of appointing their loyalists as local government chairmen under the guise of elections. Dantalle therefore appealed to Governor Ahmadu Umaru Fintiri of Adamawa State to take the initiative and support the abolition of state electoral commissions. Dantalle stated this during a seminar to celebrate 25 years of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria and the achievements of Governor Fintiri's administration in the past 5 years. Gibson Swadigo reports from Yola.
The special advisor to the Adamawa State Governor on Inter-Party Affairs, Buba Balajada, hosted a one-day seminar at the Government House Banquet Hall titled 25 Years of Uninterrupted Democracy in Nigeria and the Achievements of Governor Muhammadu Buhari's 5 years in office. Addressing the stakeholders, Bala emphasized the importance of democratic practices which have served as a guide to the good governance demonstrated by Governor Fintri. He highlighted the areas that distinguish Fintri's administration from its predecessors.
So with this, we found out that by this time we needed to celebrate 25 years of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria and Adamawa as a whole, and also to look at the achievement of His Excellency in 5 years. How do we vet that? We don't do it, you cannot mark your script yourself. So we went ahead to invite the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, who came in with his entourage, and about 5 other state chairmen, who has gone round to inspect the projects of His Excellency Right Honorable Ahmadu Umaru Fintri, feeling satisfied and even asking where he gets the kind of money he uses. In doing that, he is so satisfied and he gave him an award.
IPAC National Chairman Yusuf Dawo Dantele made a presentation on inclusive governance, emphasizing the significance of good governance in the democratic era. While commending Governor Fintri for his exemplary leadership, he urged him to spearhead the movement to abolish state electoral commissions, thereby ending the practice of appointing council chairmen under the guise of elections.
Same law that create federal government is the same constitution that create state government, is the same constitution that create local government. So, and what we are saying is that the local government, as the closest government to the people, should be allowed to, should be democratized. The people should be at the grassroots, should be allowed to choose who they want. The governor should not pocket the local government using SIEC as an instrument. The State Independent Electoral Commission, the elections being conducted by SIEC do not mean minimum standard of election. It is not election. It is mockery of democracy.
Governor Muhammadu Fintri was represented by Bello Amanderam, the Commissioner Minister of Reconstruction, Rehabilitation and Reintegration, who received an award of excellence on behalf of the governor.
Many awards were given to him, and on his behalf, we are very, very happy for receiving these awards. And because it is not the award, but rather the spirit behind giving the award and finding him worthy of such awards. So we are happy about it, and I know His Excellency is equally happy about it.
The guest speaker, Professor Wono Tanzakan Tagoa, praised the Fintri-led administration, particularly for its achievements in infrastructure, education, and security. Gibson Suadugo, Trust TV News, Yola.
This is News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, Adamawa government moves to mitigate the impact of farmer herder crisis within communities. We'll have more news when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Trust News Hour on Trust TV. If you're just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Power restored in Plateau, Bauchi, Gombe, Benue, and other northern states remain hopeful. And we also told you that Taraba tricycle operators blocked Jalingo Highway in protest over alleged police extortion. Moving to other stories now, the family of a 19-year-old orphan, Lawal Idris, who was killed last Saturday during the Kaduna State local government area elections, has told Trust TV that they have left his killers in God's hands. A guardian and an uncle to the deceased, Eli Yakubu, said this during an interview with Trust TV News at the family residence in Kao, Kaduna. Trust TV's Bella Musa has the report.
According to the family, the incident happened at Kao, Kaduna during the local government election.
On the day of election, when I was somewhere by Kao Road, when we heard some sounds of tear gas and shootings.
Eli Yakub expressed shock at the news of Lawal's death, noting that the boy was not at the polling unit during the chaos that ensued.
Some boys came, they ran to come to me, they said, something happened. I said, what happened? They said, Lawan is shot dead. Shot dead in what sense? They say in his shop. I say, did he follow the gowns of the children rallying around? They say, no, they was shot inside his shop. He was locked even.
Eli Yakub, an elder brother to Lawal's father, said he had been caring for Lawal for the past 8 years since the boy's father's death. He said efforts to save Lawal's life were futile as he was declared dead at the hospital.
Then I went there, I saw what happened. Before I came, they rushed him to the hospital. The hospital, they took him first, they refused, Manal, just behind my house. They refused to take him because of that. Because no police report. They took him to another hospital behind, just along what do you call it? This Ungwandusa, Rafunguza. The moment they were there, before even seeing the doctor, he passed on.
He claimed that the security personnel deployed to the area fired tear gas and shot into the air to disperse the crowd, adding that this led to the death of Lawal.
Whatever God does, he knows better than we. I leave everything in the hand of God. According to, but I was not there. Maybe if I was there, maybe it would have been double at least. So those that witnessed, they say it was group of police because they were about 61 group of police vehicles. Those 61 group of police, they should have gone to Benue, Bush, or anywhere.
Eli Yakub urged the community to be patient and allow the authorities to conduct their investigations, noting that they had reported the incident to the New Barak police station in Kawo on the day of the tragedy, before Lawal was buried according to Islamic rites. When contacted, the State Police Command Public Relations Officer ASP Mansur Hassan confirmed that the family had reported the incident to the police. He stated that an investigation had commenced to ascertain what actually happened, as other security personnel were present at the scene on that fateful day. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Adamawa State Governor Ahmadu Umar Fintri has highlighted the benefits of peaceful coexistence among different ethnic nationalities in order to promote development and foster security of lives and property. The governor, during his visit to Kukta community in Waltandi district of Song local government area following a recent clash between farmers and herders, warned warring parties to avoid violence. Gibson Swadigo reports.
The governor, accompanied by the service commanders in the state, visited Kukta as part of a sympathy mission after the violent outbreak. Represented by his deputy, Kaleta Pofarota, the governor urged the conflicting parties to seek unity rather than division. He encouraged the strengthening of alternative dispute resolution committees within the communities, warning the violence will not yield positive results.
The governor said to let them know that unless we have peace, herders will not go for their rearing and farmers will not go to the farm. And because we have been living for decades together, it is very important that we go back to those basics of living together in peace with one another, because peace is non-negotiable if you want development.
The State Commissioner of Police, Maurice Ankombo, reminded community members that peace is essential for development and discouraged individuals from taking the law into their hands. He added that investigations are ongoing to determine the root cause of the conflict.
Enough is enough. This should be the last incident that will happen in this community. Look at the historical existence of this community. The Fulani people and the Yungur people, they have been living in this community over a long period of time. Why must you carry arms and begin to fight yourself?
There were also calls for the government to establish a security outpost in the area, which residents believe will enhance security to avert future clashes between herders and farmers. Gibson Soadigo,
Trust TV News, Yola.
Still in Adamawa, the state government, in collaboration with UNICEF, has launched the Adamawa State Social Protection Policy and Costed Implementation Plan. The event held at the Government House in Yola aims to address the challenges posed by climate change and insecurity, which is reported to have exposed citizens to various forms of hardships. The report. With the next story, the Borno State government has established a 13-man committee to demarcate boundaries and control development of unauthorized structures along the waterways and flood-prone areas. This follows the recent flood in Maiduguri and some local government areas in Borno State that killed many persons and displaced millions. The Executive Secretary of the Borno State Geographic Information Service, Adam Bababe, said the agency is halting illegal development of structures to safeguard communities and prevent future disasters. Bababe noted that the state government will intensify efforts to promote regulated land use practices in vulnerable communities. He disclosed that more than 1,300 structures have been marked as illegal and urged the committee to come up with recommendations and submit its report within the next 2 weeks.
Unfortunately for us, just some few days after the flood, when the water started to recede, people started to construct right inside the river banks again. Unfortunately for this agency and urban planning board, before we could identify or see them, it was the executive governor himself that saw them. And immediately he drew our attention. We were thoroughly warned that if anything should happen henceforth, we will be held responsible. As such, we have to be proactive. As such, within the mandates of our organizations, we will ensure that nobody develops within the river banks, the buffer zones, or the waterways.
We have seen what happened on 10th of last month. Lives and properties have been lost. For those who are on the waterways are the innocent ones, where waters are not even expected. We have seen a lot. Nobody has ever expected. We know there is issue of climate change. But what happened? The major cause of Maiduguri water flood is the negligence of illegal developments on waterways.
A Kuje Magistrate Court has granted bail to a House of Representatives member representing Aba North and South, Alex Ikweche, in the sum of 500,000 naira and 2 sureties in like sum. In a brief ruling, the presiding judge, Abubakar Said, said the sureties must reside within the court's jurisdiction and provide utility bills as proof of evidence. The charges brought against Representative Alex Ikweche include abuse of office, assault, and threat to life. He pleaded not guilty when it was read to him. His counsel thereafter made an oral application for bail, which was granted by the court. The case has been adjourned to November the 8th, 2024. Representative Ikweche was arraigned for allegedly assaulting an e-hailing cab driver, Stephen Abuasea, in Abuja. The House of Representatives has summoned the Federal Ministry of Environment, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and the Hydrological Services Agency to appear before the Committees on Environment, Emergency and Disaster Preparedness and Water Resources. The House also called on the Federal Ministry of Environment and the state governments to initiate evacuation plans for communities along flood plains, ensuring access to temporary shelters, medical assistance, and other necessary support for affected populations. The report.
The resolution followed the adoption of a motion introduced by Representative Sesi Wingan.
It is crucial that relevant authorities immediately implement strategies to mitigate the predicted disaster, including evacuation plans, provision of relief materials, and ensuring post-flood recovery efforts are coordinated effectively. The House resolves to 1. Summon the Federal Ministry of Environment, the National Emergency Management Agency, and the Hydrological Services Agency to appear before this Honorable House to explain what precautionary measures are being implemented to safeguard lives and properties in the predicted flood zones.
In a separate resolution, the House of Representatives urged the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to relocate its local government offices to secure neutral locations and ensure adequate provisions in the 2025 budget for the project. The House further directed the Committee on Electoral Matters to collaborate with INEC and other relevant stakeholders to ensure compliance and report back within 4 weeks. Presenting his motion, Representative Sunday Namchi pointed out that many INEC offices are currently located within local government headquarters. He expressed concern that this proximity may compromise INEC's independence in conducting national elections and may expose it to influence from local government authorities, especially in areas controlled by a single political party. Namchi emphasized that this setup could threaten INEC's impartiality as outlined in Section 6 of the Electoral Act 2022 and noted the importance of maintaining public trust in the electoral process.
The House is aware that this is potentially hampering and compromising the independence of INEC in the conduct of elections. The House observes that this proximity exposes INEC to manipulations and control by interest groups, particularly in areas dominated by a single political party.
The Green Chamber has also urged the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace to hold the issuance of airstrip licenses to private individuals and organizations and to revoke any existing approvals. This move is intended to strengthen national security. The decision followed the adoption of a motion raised by Representative Sulaiman Gumi, who expressed concerns over ongoing security challenges linked to the illegal importation of firearms, ammunition, and hard drugs. He noted that security agencies have struggled to trace the sources of these supplies, which fuel insurgency, kidnapping, and separatist violence across Nigeria.
Worried that granting airstrip to private individuals and organizations will aid illegal importation of firearms and hard drugs into the country, thus heightening insurgency, kidnapping, banditry, and other vices that are seriously affecting the socio-economic development of the country. The House resolves to 1. Call on the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace to stop issuance of airstrip licenses to private individuals and organizations.
Gumi warned that allowing private airstrips could facilitate the illegal importation of weapons and drugs, exacerbating the country's security crisis and hindering socio-economic development.
Time now for business news with Yusuf Akogu.
Time for some business stories. Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Olayemi Cardoso, has said that Apex Bank from 2025 will regularly share information on the net external reserve of the country. Cardoso disclosed this at the Financial Times African Summit in London. He added that the CBN will use every tool at its disposal to manage inflation. Cardoso said that while he expected headline inflation to moderate in the coming months, food inflation will prove stickier. Cardoso said that the measures introduced by the CBN to restore investors' confidence are working, as there are now minimal complaints about lack of access to foreign exchange. NGX sustained bearish run on Wednesday as profit-taking continued across trading tables. Let's see how it went down today. Leading the losers today is PZ down 10% to close at 18 naira and 90 kobo per share. The ABC Trans also down as well, 9.63% to close at 1 naira and 22 kobo per share as well. Of course, UPDC also recorded a negative trading as well, down 9.38% to close at 1 naira and 45 kobo per share. Of course, this has dragged down the index downward by 0.09%. Volume of trade there, 368.80 million shares. The value at 12.92 billion naira in a list of 9,711 lead exchanges among investors investors there. Looking at the top trading equities by volume, Champions leader table, 80.66 million shares traded. Of course, UBA 35.91 million shares, and of course, MTN Nigerian PLC 30.76 million volume of shares traded at the close of business this Wednesday. Looking at the gaining equities, there's Sky Aviation leader table. It gained 10% to close at 27 naira and 50 kobo per share. Of course, UPL also gained 10% to close at 3 naira and 8 kobo per share as well. Unicel recorded 9.93% gain to close at 4 naira and 65 kobo per share there. And that's the highlight of stock trading as it went down this Wednesday on the floor of NGS. Let's see the global stock market and exchange rate data for today. Oil prices hold steady near 1 month lows on Wednesday after sliding in the previous 2 sessions as markets weigh a potential ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah and rising OPEC Plus crude supplies against a possible drop in U.S. fuel stocks and demand concerns. Global benchmark Brent steady at $72 a barrel. For the pay basket, dealers offer $71 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akogun.
News from abroad. 8 people, including a 3-year-old child, were killed in a brutal attack by suspected cult members in Uganda. Authorities confirmed on Wednesday the assault took place late Tuesday night in Mizizi, a small village in Kagadi district, about 250 kilometers west of Kampala, Uganda's capital. According to the Ugandan People's Defense Forces, the attackers, believed to be members of a new unidentified cult, targeted relatives and community members using bladed weapons in the attack. Security forces, including the police and the military units, are actively searching for the perpetrators as investigations continue to uncover details about the cult. 8 other persons were injured in the incident, with 4 of the deceased under the age of 13, according to the police. Security forces reportedly killed 2 of the suspected attackers while responding to the violence. The United States military on Wednesday said American airstrikes early this week killed up to 35 Islamic State group members in Syria. It is the latest in the series of operations in recent months by the United States and local forces in Iraq and Syria against terrorists who once held swaths of territory in both countries. There are no reports of civilian casualties from the strikes, which were carried out on October the 28th. According to the United States Central Command, U.S. and Iraqi forces conducted a joint raid last week that Baghdad said left 9 terrorists dead, among them the top leader in the country, while CENTCOM announced on October the 18th that Iraqi strikes had killed a senior leader from the group along with 3 other militants. At the end of August, a joint operation by the United States and Iraqi forces killed 14 IS fighters in Iraq's western desert, among them 4 of the group's leader, CENTCOM said. The U.S. military has around 900 troops in Syria and 2,500 troops in Iraq as part of the international anti-IS coalition that was established in 2014 to help combat the terrorists. Following the announcement by President Bola Tinubu a week ago scrapping the Ministry of Sports Development and replacing same with the National Sports Commission, the Director General Shehu Deko has taken over as the new sports helmsman in Nigeria. Trust TV sports correspondent Emmanuel Fashemi has the report.
Nigerian sports sector over the years has witnessed a huge decline in all aspects, with the country performing poorly in several competitions. In the president's move to revamp the sector, he ordered the scrapping of Sports Development Ministry and replaced it with the National Sports Commission. Many believe the president's action was prompted by Nigeria's dismal performance at the 2024 Paris Olympic Games, where no single medal was recorded for the country. At the announcement of the scrapping of Sport Ministry, the president immediately appointed former LMC boss Shehu Diko to take charge. During the handover ceremony on Wednesday, former Minister of Sports John Owaneno highlighted the scrapped ministry achievements.
When the CAF report on the Libya-Nigeria debacle, was released, I said to someone, this is living on a high note. That's what it is. Because if I remember the sleepless nights that we had over that issue, going back and forth, providing leadership, and at the end of the day, having to have a report that awards 3 points and 3 goals to the senior national team is a big feat for a country.
On his part, Chairman Shehu Diko opened up on the way forward for the commission.
We have to now invest clearly in world-class infrastructure that will provide the enabling environment for growth. In Nigeria, we are investing in infrastructures across everywhere, but without focus. State government, everybody will spend a lot of money and build an infrastructure, but without any decision about how do you maintain it, how do you get it to work, how do you get it to impact on the people that you are doing the infrastructure for. Just to build and celebrate and cut the debt, award the contracts. You come back in a few months, probably there will be cows on the beach eating the grass. So we have to have that mindset that was going to change that, to have to do the infrastructures to get it right.
The National Sports Commission will be in charge of all sports-related activities in Nigeria henceforth. And that is sports. I am Emmanuel Fashemi.
That sports report concludes the news hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news, programs, and documentary. I'm Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Thank you for watching.